Welcome back to Dinar Info News, your trusted source for breaking updates, analysis, and deep dives into the world of currency revaluation, global monetary shifts, and the highly anticipated developments surrounding the Iraqi Dinar and the Vietnamese Dong. If you're passionate about global financial change, currency reset theories, or simply looking for real-time updates on what's happening behind the scenes, you've come to the right place. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon so you never miss an update. Now, let's dive right into the heart of today's extraordinary news. What many of us have been waiting years, if not decades, for may finally be starting to unfold. Yes, we're talking about RV Phase 1. Multiple sources, including private intelligence networks, foreign currency insiders, and even whistleblower leaks, are all converging on one undeniable point. The first phase of the global currency revaluation, commonly referred to as the RV, is already live, albeit quietly. Silent exchanges of IQD, the Iraqi Dinar, and the VND, the Vietnamese Dong, are reportedly taking place at select financial institutions, both in the U.S. and abroad. But what does this actually mean? And how can we verify what's rumor versus what's real? To understand the gravity of these developments, we need to start by unpacking what RV Phase 1 really entails. Historically, the term RV has been used to describe a potential revaluation or realignment of the exchange rates for currencies that are currently undervalued, particularly those from nations rich in natural resources but constrained by war, sanctions, or economic manipulation. Iraq, for instance, is a country with one of the largest oil reserves in the world, and yet its currency, the IQD, has been artificially suppressed since the early 2000s. Similarly, Vietnam has experienced rapid economic growth, technological advancement, and increased foreign investment, yet the dong remains pegged at a low rate, often below its true market value. Sources close to private banking circles have reported that Tier 1 and Tier 2 level clients, think ultra-high net worth individuals, diplomatic contacts, and select military personnel, have already begun processing exchanges at significantly higher rates than what is publicly listed on Forex platforms. These transactions are not appearing on mainstream news or through conventional banking systems. They're happening through what some are calling backroom liquidity events or silent exchanges. The financial instruments being used appear to be part of a controlled rollout wherein the first wave is limited to insiders as a test mechanism. Think of it as a soft launch or beta phase in the tech world. There are also consistent whispers from global redemption centers, many of which have been quietly staffed and placed on standby for over a year now, that they have begun limited processing of Dinar and Dong. Some employees, under strict NDAs, have leaked that exchanges are being conducted by appointment only, usually after a background vetting process. Interestingly, the individuals being invited for these appointments have been longtime holders who registered their interest through platforms tied to intel groups and prosperity package networks. It's no longer a theoretical scenario. This is happening, quietly and without public acknowledgement. But why the silence? Why haven't major financial news outlets like Bloomberg, CNBC, or Reuters reported on these currency movements? One explanation is simple: control. The global financial elite, and let's be honest, they do exist, are incredibly concerned about triggering mass panic or speculative chaos in the markets. An open announcement of a currency revaluation would likely lead to bank runs, inflated black market activity, and geopolitical disruption. By rolling out the RV in phases, starting with the most loyal or elite holders, central banks and global monetary authorities can maintain oversight and gauge the economic ripple effects before unleashing it to the wider public. It's also important to consider the role of the IMF, the World Bank, and the BIS in orchestrating such a delicate monetary realignment. For months now, we've seen subtle language changes in their published statements, hinting at a currency harmonization strategy, digital currency integration, and sovereign realignment frameworks. All of this language points to an underlying effort to rebalance global currency values in a way that favors productive, resource-rich nations while reducing reliance on debt-driven fiat economies. Iraq and Vietnam, by these standards, are front-runners. Then there's the issue of timing. Many of you have written to us asking, why now? And it's a fair question. Several key factors have converged to make this the most probable time for the RV to kick off. First, geopolitical alliances are shifting rapidly. The BRICS coalition, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, is rapidly expanding its monetary footprint, developing alternatives to the dollar-based SWIFT system. Iraq has signed new oil contracts with China and Russia in non-USD denominations, signaling their intent to move away from the petrodollar. This alone could trigger a need for Iraq to legitimize its currency on the international stage. Additionally, Vietnam has completed major banking reforms and digital integration of its central bank systems. Their economy, despite global downturns, has remained surprisingly resilient, bolstered by export growth and foreign investment in tech manufacturing. Combine this with increased gold reserves reported by both nations, and we see a clear move toward asset-backed currencies, something many RV theorists have long predicted would precede revaluation. But let's get to the heart of what most of you really want to know. What rates are being whispered in these silent exchanges? While hard proof is understandably difficult to come by due to confidentiality agreements and the discrete nature of these transactions, we've received multiple independent confirmations that IQD is exchanging privately at rates ranging between $350 to $425 USD per dinar. That's a staggering increase from the current official rate of around 1,210 dinars per dollar. As for the VND, reports suggest silent exchange rates ranging from 0.40 to 0.50 per dong, an almost tenfold increase. Over its current street value, we must be cautious here. These rates may only be available in controlled redemption scenarios, under NDA, in pre-approved settings, and with documentation. That said, these reported rates align closely with the projected asset-backed valuations long discussed in economic circles that believe the global currency reset is inevitable. Now, for those of you holding Dinar or Dong and wondering what to do next, the best advice remains: stay informed, be prepared, and don't act impulsively. If you receive any contact from supposed exchange centers, verify their legitimacy. There are unfortunately many scams operating in this space, preying on desperate or hopeful holders. No legitimate exchange center will ask for payment up front, nor will they require you to send your currency in advance without legal oversight. At this point, many banks are training staff on currency redemption procedures, often under the guise of foreign asset compliance training. What they're really doing is preparing for the next wave. Once Phase 1 is complete, likely over the next few weeks, we anticipate a slow, methodical expansion of access, possibly to Tier 3 holders. This could include small groups, private placement programs, and eventually, retail-level holders like most of us watching this channel. It's also worth noting that multiple currency platforms have recently halted or dramatically restricted sales of IQD and VND. This is a critical indicator. When currencies that were previously easy to purchase suddenly become restricted, it often means those assets are being repositioned or prepared for revaluation. We've seen several online dealers citing supply issues or increased regulatory scrutiny. In reality, they may be under pressure to stop flooding the market with these currencies in anticipation of a rate change. Let's also take a moment to talk about the psychological and emotional aspect of all this. Many of you have been waiting for years, some even decades, for this moment. You've endured skepticism, ridicule, false starts, and emotional roller coasters. But here we are, standing on the threshold of a possible transformation. Not just financially, but globally. This is not just about cashing in currency. It's about wealth redistribution, economic justice, and the potential to rewrite the financial destiny of entire nations. But with great change comes responsibility. If and when the RV becomes fully public and the opportunity to exchange becomes real for all holders, remember that sudden wealth can be a test as much as it is a blessing. Have your trusts in place. Work with credible financial advisors. Be discreet. You don't need to broadcast your success. Focus on legacy, on impact, on creating stability for your family and community. Because if even a portion of what we're hearing is true, your life is about to change in a dramatic way. In closing, I want to thank every one of you for your continued support, your vigilance, and your faith in this journey. Dinar Info News will continue to provide you with the most accurate, timely, and credible information available. We filter through the noise so you don't have to. Remember, not everything that's happening is visible to the public eye, but that doesn't mean it's not real. Silent exchanges, quiet shifts, and Phase 1 implementations are the first drops in what could soon become a global tidal wave of monetary transformation. Make sure you're subscribed, share this video with fellow holders, and drop your thoughts in the comments. Have you heard of silent exchanges happening? Do you know someone who's already